I love great conversations. Hi, my name is Angel Jones. Thank you for joining me on 12-Minute Convos, where I help you create a brand of your own unique, real self. Listen in as I have conversations with amazing people from all over the world. Good afternoon, Trevor, Turnbull. Hey, how are you going on this wonderful, beautiful day?
Excellent, sir. Thank you very much for having me on your show.
Hey, it's my pleasure. Tell us, what part of the world are you in right now?
I am in Vancouver up in Canada. So on the northern side, there's actually Vancouver just across the border too, but I'm on the Canadian side.
All right. And which of your talents is responsible for us meeting?
Well, it would have to be LinkedIn, obviously. We actually connected on there. You reached out and had this compelling idea that I thought was brilliant. These 12-minute conversations. As we just said a moment ago, who doesn't have time for a 12-minute conversation?
Love
So
it.
here we are.
Love it. Yeah, amazing audience. I mean, this guy is the sales guy, right? But I'm not sure how much that line will cost me.
That's a freebie.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, so tell us about what you do, my friend, in terms of empowering entrepreneurs. Really want to dig into that.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. So I guess am best known as a LinkedIn trainer, and I have a couple of different online programs that people have taken over the years. One that's called Linked Influence, which is really geared towards job seekers, and the other one that's called 30-Day Sales Machine, which is more geared towards the lead generation side of things. So how to leverage LinkedIn to be able to take advantage of both of those things that people need in either their personal lives, for their careers, or for their businesses.
So is LinkedIn something that you ran up against and worked for you? Is that how the story went?
Yeah, LinkedIn, I guess my story, if I try and keep it concise here, I got onto LinkedIn in about 2007. And then by 2009, my career was starting to go down a path I didn't like. I was working for other people. So I started to use LinkedIn as a means to reach out and connect with influencers, specifically in the sports industry. For me, that's what I was doing at the time. I was consulting and working with a professional football team, and I used LinkedIn to connect with people that were working in sports, people that were consulting, athletes, that type of thing. And I used it to grow my network. And, long story short, it's allowed me the opportunity to connect with people all over the world, influencers, people that are presidents of National Football League teams, hockey teams, basketball teams, you name it, all around the world. It's been really incredible what it's allowed me to do. And I've taken my knowledge now and I pass it along to other people. That's my way of giving back, to help them figure out how to use it to build relationships.
I love that. No, I am almost very, very sure that it meant that socially, outside of LinkedIn, offline, that you were someone that took joy in connecting. Is that accurate?
Yeah, you know what? I would say kind of.
Okay.
It would be my answer on that, because I certainly enjoyed networking. I actually own another website platform called Networking in Vancouver, which helps connect people and publish local events and that type of thing. But I say this in my presentations all the time too, that I really truly believe that I'm more of an introvert than I am an extrovert,
Yeah.
which is kind of unique. And but also I think a lot of people are like that. They like to connect with people, they like to build relationships, but at the same time, they probably like their alone time. They don't necessarily always want to be out of their house and at networking events, and that's certainly me too. So I try to tailor my training that way too, to people that aren't necessarily naturally gifted networkers,
Yeah.
but how can you still use tools like this to be able to amplify what you can do in the real world?
Yeah, I love that. I remember the last year when I was talking to introverts. Well, eventually I was able all right. So eventually I was able to identify an introvert versus an extrovert over the mic, over the headsets, right? Because I was never
Hmm.
doing video. But
Yeah.
one of the things that I realized that technology gives you is a cutoff point. So an introvert understanding that when I end this conversation, I'm back to my safe place.
Hmm.
That is very good for them. Like that, even for me, right?
Yeah.
You know, it's like it's done. But even with LinkedIn, I'm guessing you being an introvert, it really helped capitalize on the opportunity to connect and then be able to turn off. Is that accurate?
Absolutely accurate. Yeah, because I think that's one of the things is, as a more introverted person, you really kind of value and almost get anxiety sometimes over the idea of having to really maintain a lot of relationships. And so my goal in using LinkedIn over the years has been to figure out how can I actually be the connector that can create a massive impact in the world and help as many people as possible without having to put myself in uncomfortable situations and feelings where, I'm always out of the house or I'm always in a suit, like
Yeah.
I I made a choice a long time ago where I said, you know what? I don't want to be, working from home every day, but at the same time, I don't want to be out at events all the time either. So I needed to find a hybrid, and I feel like I found a good place for that. And again, that's what I try and help other people do as well.
That's fascinating. I love that. Well, tell me one other thing you've done consistently over the last 3 years, Trevor.
I do a lot of speaking as well, and around this topic, of course, but I also do some work with athletes. I've worked with amateur athletes with our Canadian Olympic program up here. I've worked with athletes that are in NCAA or college university programs down in the United States. And I really speak to them about legacy. I have a business called Legacy After the Game. It really speaks to how can you position yourself best to have a successful career once the game ends for you, right? And because it always does, right? Even the best athletes in the world have to retire one day and they figure out what to do next. So a lot of that work is really around just empowering people with the idea of like your network is your net worth, and what you can do now will benefit you 5, 10, 15 years from now when you're no longer doing your sport that you love so much. Because a lot of times there's an identity crisis that happens with people when they stop becoming an athlete. So that's a passion of mine. I've been doing it for, well, since about 2009 as well, but have done a lot of speaking on that topic in the last 3 years.
How does it make you feel? I mean, you're speaking with champions and you're telling them, hey,
Yeah.
there's one day that you may not be a champion the way you are a champion now. How does that make you feel, being that person that is preparing them?
It's really fulfilling, obviously, to do that kind of work. And I guess that's why I really enjoy that side of what I do, because in some cases I'll speak with athletes that truly understand and they're already thinking about what is that next step. But others, they're just say getting started, maybe freshmen in university. They're not thinking about what they're going to do in 4 years. They're thinking about the next game, right?
Yeah.
So there's a real aha moment for people, and I like helping them uncover that and making them realize it doesn't need to be scary. So, that's something that I really truly enjoy doing, because I know that I'm helping people with the rest of their lives and positioning themselves the way they want to be seen.
Love that. You've gone from strength to strength with the business models, it seems, in terms of how you've piled what you're doing to purpose. I would like to know, why would you suggest to someone out there that they do something similar to what you've done?
Well, it's just really empowering to know that if you've built a good, solid network online, that you can always rely on that no matter what happens to you in life. I'm a big advocate, obviously, to following your passions. And for some people, that means working in a job and being very comfortable with what they're doing. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. For others, it's they get that entrepreneurial itch and they need to see what they can make of it, right? But as you may know, and a lot of people listening, it doesn't always work out the way you plan it. And by having a good, solid network of real relationships, not just artificial likes and follows and whatnot online, you can always fail and recover way faster. So that's one of the biggest things that I always try and really advocate to people is, take the time to build genuine relationships with people as opposed to trying to build lots, quality versus quantity.
Love it. You're hearing it live here. Amazing audience from Trevor Turnbull. Trevor is definitely the LinkedIn guy, right? Developed 2 courses, right? Trevor, keep doing what you're doing. I love how you've built the model of making it clear that the real relationships are important as well. Trevor, let's switch gears for a moment. Let me now invite you into my time machine that is surrounded with beautiful, warm, blue Caribbean water. Trevor, what is your earliest childhood memory?
Oh, wow. Earliest childhood memory. I guess it would have to be being at grandma's house around Christmas time. I always remember those moments when, just being close with family. It seems like forever ago because I guess it was.
Yeah, yeah. How old do you think you were?
Oh, geez, probably younger than five, maybe 4 or 5 years old type thing. That's maybe as far back as I could possibly go.
Why do you think this memory is so clear?
I think for a few reasons. I actually lost my grandma within the last like year and a half, and I was really
Oh,
close with her.
yeah,
Yeah,
condolences. Yeah, sorry about
yeah,
that.
thank you. Thank you. Yeah, so I guess, those memories always hold a pretty close place in my heart just because I've you think about those people that meant a lot to you when you were little even more after they're gone, it seems. So
Mm,
she's been in my thoughts a lot the last year and a half.
yeah. Well, can I offer an interpretation to the thought picture you created in my mind?
Absolutely.
I love the fact that after everything that we spoke about, that and you said it just a while ago, but you said the real relationships are what matter. And to see you go back to the earliest childhood memory of going back to that place where you're by granny, right? You're by grandma. It just speaks masses to the foundation of a relationship and how far it can go, even after she's gone on, right? That
Hmm.
that is truly what matters. That's fascinating.
Absolutely. Yeah, I appreciate that insight.
You're welcome. If we fast forward to when you were 12, what was your favorite song?
Probably had to be something by like Bon Jovi.
Which song?
Living on a Prayer, Bon
There we
Jovi.
go. There we go.
I'm thinking about the right. I'm wondering if that's kind of the right timestamp, but I'm pretty sure Bon Jovi was a big hit back then.
Yeah. They all connect, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I haven't thought about that kind of stuff in a long, long time. So these are interesting questions.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Well, Trevor, we have arrived at our destination. But before we get off of this time machine, there's a small declaration form. So it's yes or no, possibly a bit more. We're going to move pretty quickly here. Trevor, have you chosen someone to pass on your skills to?
Yes.
Are you married?
Yes.
Do you have children?
Yes.
Do you believe in God?
Yes.
Do you have an inner circle of friends?
Yes.
Do you watch TV for more than 3 hours a day?
No.
How about 3 hours a week?
Yes.
What about screen time, the phone and or the computer? Is it more than 8 or less than 8 hours a day?
Oh, more than 8.
After 1001 conversations in 3 months in 2016, I came up with a workbook. The name of it is Yours. It stands for Your Own Unique Real Self. Connected to that is your own unique real statement, your mission. If you had to share with us your own unique real statement, a statement that represents who you are, Trevor, what would that be?
You know what? About 3 years ago, I was involved in a leadership training program that lasted about 6 months, and we actually came up with that statement, and I live by that, or at least attempt to every single day, which is I am a vulnerable, honest, romantic man, and I try and live that every single day. And of course, I don't always accomplish it, but I use that as a mantra to try and remind myself of be vulnerable in every conversation you have because it actually creates vulnerability on the other side. Be honest because that's who you are. Don't try and trick people into anything. Just be who you are. And be romantic because I get to remind myself to actually show up and be the strength that my wife and my family and everybody else around me needs. So that would be it.
Love it. Hey, Trevor, this was a great pleasure. Before you leave, is there anything else you'd like to share with our amazing audience?
Just feel free to connect with me at any time. You can find me, obviously, just search for my name and you'll see me all over Google. But of course, on LinkedIn, connect with me. And if you do, please let me know that you heard me on this show. I love what you're doing here. These, like I wasn't lying, the 12-minute conversations, I think, is a brilliant way to be able to reach out to somebody, make them realize that it's an easy conversation to have. And I'll be honest, I had no idea what to expect coming in, but you have an amazing talent to be able to naturally move a conversation along. And I think these are probably very entertaining for people that are listening too. So kudos to you.
Hey, thanks a lot. Trevor Turnbull, thank you for being on What is Inspired by 12-Minute Convos with Angel Jones.
My pleasure.
Thank you for being on 12-Minute Convos with Angel Jones. Stay tuned for more from our advertisers.
Diabetes is a mountain pandemic. It's a disease that's not acute but chronic. Similar to this rhyming method, I have simplified the definition, the signs and symptoms, and the complications of diabetes for both adults and children in my books, Poems for Patients, A Focus on Diabetes, and The ABCs of Diabetes for Children. These books are available on Amazon.com, and for more information, you can visit my website, poemsbyaj.com. That's poemsbyaj.com.